I should have left the night he split my lip for asking about the phone bill. Instead, I iced my face, told the ER nurse I tripped on the stairs, and smiled through a lie so tight it made my teeth ache. That was 4 years ago. Since then, I've learned how to lie better, how to smile better, how to survive better. My name is Marissa. I'm 29 years old, married to a man who kisses my cheek in public and bruises my ribs in private. I work in HR at a mid-sized company where I'm known for being quiet, reliable, and always bringing cupcakes on birthdays. No one knows I've been hiding $50,000 in a savings account for the past 2 years. No one knows I was going to leave today. I took the day off, told Jarrett I had a dentist appointment. He grunted from the couch, eyes glued to ESPN. I packed a suitcase while he was in the shower, shoving in only what mattered: documents, clothes, my grandmother's locket. I didn't cry. Not even a little. It was 10:42 a.m. when I walked into the bank. I wore a hoodie and sunglasses, like I was doing something wrong. My hands were sweating. I kept whispering to myself, "You're okay. You're doing this. Just breathe." Ivan, the bank manager, smiled when he saw me. "Morning, Marissa. How can I help you?" "I need to make a withdrawal," I said, voice steady. "From the savings account ending in 1432. He typed something, paused, then frowned. "There's nothing in that account." I blinked. "What?" "It was emptied last week. Full balance transferred to a joint account ending in U098. "That's not possible," I said. My voice cracked. "I didn't authorize anything. That account's under my name." He looked uncomfortable. "It's co-signed. Your parents are listed on the account." My stomach dropped. "Can you print the transaction record?" He hesitated. "I can't give you a copy right now, but I can show you the screen." A list of numbers and dates appeared. The transfer was made 3 days ago. 50,000, gone in one click. Recipient, Tinsley Wedding Fund. I couldn't breathe. I stepped outside, sat hard on the curb, and called my mother. She answered on the second ring, voice bright and sugar sweet. "Hi, honey." "You took the money," I said. A pause. Then a sigh. "Oh, that?" "Yes. We transferred it. Don't be dramatic." "You what?" I stood up, heart pounding. "Marissa, your sister's wedding is in 2 months. She needed help. You're married. You'll figure it out." That money was mine. I was leaving. I stopped myself. "You're not leaving anyone," she snapped. "Marriage is hard. You don't just run away. You work through it. You stole from me. We did what was best for the family. You're being selfish." I hung up before I screamed. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my phone. People walked past me like I was invisible. Maybe I was. I didn't go home. I couldn't. I called Jade instead. "Where are you?" she asked, voice sharp with concern. "Outside the bank. They took everything. My parents. They drained it for Tinsley's wedding." Jesus Christ. Okay. Come to the motel off 7th. I'm getting you a room. Don't go home." I nodded even though she couldn't see me. "I can't believe they did this." "You can. You just didn't want to." The motel smelled like cigarettes and bleach. Jade handed me a key and a warm coffee. "You're safe here. For now." I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the ugly floral comforter. They really think I'm just gonna let this go. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Ivan said he'd look into it. But the account was co-signed. I thought it made it safer. "Safer for who?" she said. "You trusted people who never protected you." I looked at her. "What do I do?" She pulled out her laptop. "First, we document everything. Then we talk options. This isn't just betrayal. It might be fraud." I laughed, bitter and hollow. "My sister's wedding is being paid for with my escape fund." Jade opened her phone. "You want to see something disgusting?" She pulled up Tinsley's Instagram. There she was, all teeth and champagne, posing in front of a vineyard with the caption, Dream venue paid in full. How blessed fairy tale wedding. I stared at the screen. My throat burned. She knew, I whispered. She knew where the money came from. She doesn't care, Jade said. She never had to. I nodded slowly. Something cold and sharp settled in my chest. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was something else. Something heavier. Cleaner. I'm not just leaving Jarrett, I said, more to myself than to Jade. I'm burning this whole thing down. She looked at me. You sure? I met her eyes. They stole my freedom. I'm taking back everything else. My phone buzzed. A text from Ivan. Hey, can you come back tomorrow? Something's off with the way the withdrawal was authorized. Privately, please. I showed it to Jade. She raised an eyebrow. Looks like we've got our first crack. I leaned back against the headboard, heart still racing, but steadier now. The worst had already happened. What came next was mine to write. And I wasn't going to write a happy ending for them. The motel room was cold, even with the heater humming low. I sat cross-legged on the bed, scrolling through Tinsley's Instagram like it was a crime scene. Look at this, I said, holding the phone out to Jade. Tinsley was in a white silk robe, surrounded by bridesmaids, holding up a gold-foiled invitation. The caption read, "Custom invites just arrived. Only the best for this once-in-a-lifetime love story." Jade squinted. That's embossed. Those things are like $8 a card. I tossed the phone on the bed. She's flaunting it, like it's hers. She probably thinks it is, Jade said, pulling a folder from her bag. You've been the family doormat for how long? I didn't answer. She already knew. Jade opened her laptop. I've been looking into the transaction. If your parents forged your signature or authorized the transfer without your consent, it could count as fraud. But the account was co-signed, I said. Still doesn't give them the right to empty it without your knowledge, especially if the funds were earmarked for something else. I rubbed my temples. I just wanted out, that's all, not a war. Well, you've got one now. My phone buzzed. Another post. Tinsley again, this time posing in front of a boutique. Caption: Dress fitting today. Can't wait to be Mrs. Knight. Jade leaned over. She's tagging the designer. That's a 5-figure dress. I stared blankly at the screen. They used everything. Jade sat beside me. You have 2 choices. Let it go or make them wish they never touched your money. I looked at her. I want the second one. She smiled, then handed me a pen. Then we start here. Write down everything you remember about the account. When you opened it, deposits, any communication with your parents about it. I started writing. My hand was shaking, but I didn't stop. The next morning, I walked into the bank wearing the same hoodie, but this time, I didn't feel like running. Ivan met me in his office, shut the door behind us. I looked into the transfer, he said, sitting down. You didn't authorize it. Your digital signature was used, but the timestamp and IP address don't match your usual activity. I blinked. So someone forged it? Looks that way. And the transfer went into a newly created joint account with your sister and your mother. That's not standard, especially not without your consent. I swallowed hard. Can I get a copy of the withdrawal record? I can get you a printout, but I'd recommend talking to someone legal. This could get messy. Messy's fine, I said. I've been living in messy. He nodded and slid a paper across the desk. Here's the transaction, and I flagged the account for suspicious activity. If anything else moves, you'll know. I left the bank gripping the paper like it was a weapon. In the parking lot, I called Jade. They forged my signature, I said. It's official. Good, she said. Now we build a case. That night, I sat on the motel bed with my laptop open. Jade was on the other end of a Zoom call, walking me through what to document. Keep screenshots of everything, she said. Emails, texts, even social media posts. Anything that shows they knew what they were doing. I pulled up an old text from my mom. Just make sure you're not doing anything reckless with that money, honey. You're still married. I read it out loud. Jade raised an eyebrow. That's foreshadowing if I've ever seen it. Then I got an idea. I opened Tinsley's Facebook messages. We hadn't talked in months, but I remembered one thing she said when she got engaged. You're so lucky you don't have to pay for your wedding. Mom and Dad are covering everything. I'd brushed it off back then. Now it felt like a confession. I screenshotted it and sent it to Jade. Perfect, she said. Keep digging. Just then, my phone rang. Mom. I hit record before answering. Hi, Mom. You need to stop this nonsense, she said. Her voice was tight, clipped. You're making a scene over some wedding money. It wasn't yours to take. You're being dramatic. Family doesn't sue family. I haven't sued anyone, I said calmly. Yet, she scoffed. You're going to regret this. You think strangers care about you more than your own blood? I think strangers haven't stolen from me. She hung up. I played the recording back for Jade. That's gold, she said. She just admitted to the theft and tried to manipulate you into silence. I sat back, staring at the ceiling. They really think I'm going to crawl back. Jade smiled darkly. Let them think that. The higher they climb, the harder they fall. I looked at the screenshot of Tinsley's dress fitting again. She was glowing, radiant, oblivious. Let her have her fairy tale. I was writing the ending, and this time, I wasn't the one getting left behind. I walked into the bank the next morning with a fresh printout of the forged transaction in my purse and a pit of fire in my stomach. Ivan met me in the lobby, eyes serious. Let's go to my office. He closed the door behind us, then pulled up a screen. I had IT trace the login that approved the transfer. It came from a device not previously associated with your account. Where? I asked. He hesitated. Your parents' home address. I stared at him. So they didn't even try to hide it. They used your saved credentials to authorize it. But the IP and device ID don't match your usual logins. It's enough to raise flags. Can I get that in writing? I'll draft a statement, he said. But you'll need a lawyer if you plan to press charges. I nodded. I already have someone helping me. Back at the motel, Jade was waiting with 2 coffees and a folder full of printed screenshots. I pulled the metadata from your sister's Facebook photos, she said, flipping open the folder. Check this out. One image caught my eye. Tinsley holding up a champagne flute, grinning, with a paper sticking out of her purse. Jade zoomed in. Enhance that. I already did. She pulled up the magnified section. It was a receipt. The same amount as the transfer. Same date. Same bank. She's carrying around the evidence like a trophy, I said. Jade smirked. And now we've got it. I sat down, flipping through the rest of the folder. What about Jarrett? She sighed. We'll get there. But this is your focus right now. You've got enough to open a fraud case. I pulled out my phone and opened my texts. There was one from Tinsley, sent weeks ago, before I knew anything was missing. Can you believe Mom and Dad are covering the whole venue? I'm so lucky. I showed it to Jade. She knew. She just didn't care. She was raised not to. I nodded slowly. I'm not letting this go. Later that night, I called my mom again. I hit record before she picked up. What now? She said, already annoyed. I just wanted to let you know I've spoken to the bank. Silence. They confirmed the signature was forged, and the login came from your house. You're being ridiculous. No, I'm being thorough. You're going to destroy this family over some money? You already did. She laughed, bitter and sharp. You think the world is going to take your side? You're married to a man who provides for you. You have a roof over your head. He hits me. Silence again. You think I didn't notice the bruises? I asked. You looked the other way. I thought you were clumsy. No, you just didn't care. She hung up. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. Then I saved the recording. The next morning, Jade and I sat in the back of a coffee shop with a lawyer friend of hers. He wore a wrinkled suit and had a voice like gravel. "You've got enough to file a civil suit," he said. "Possibly criminal, depending on how the DA feels. Forgery, unauthorized access, misappropriation of funds." "What about my husband?" I asked. "Separate case. But if you've got proof of abuse, we can file for a restraining order. Maybe even spoliation if he's destroyed property or evidence." Jade handed him a flash drive. "Everything's on here." He nodded. "I'll review it tonight, but you're in a strong position." I exhaled. "Okay." That night, I got another voicemail from my mom. "You're going to regret making a fuss over some wedding money. Family doesn't sue family." I played it twice, then sent it to Jade. "She's digging her own grave," she said. The next day, Ivan called. "I pulled the full access logs," he said. "There's a pattern. Your mom logged in multiple times before the transfer. She was watching your balance. She was waiting for it to hit 50K. Looks that way." I thanked him and hung up. Then I opened my phone and started typing. "Tinsley, I know where the money came from. Stop pretending it's yours." She replied instantly. "What are you even talking about?" "The 50K Dad transferred. My account. You're flaunting it all over social media." Another pause. "Mom said you gave it to us, that you wanted to help." She lied. I was leaving Jarrett. That money was my escape. No response. I stared at the screen for 5 full minutes before locking the phone. Then I looked at Jade. "They're all in it. Every one of them." "Good," she said. "Let them be. It makes the fall even better." I smiled, small and sharp. They thought they took my silence. They didn't know I'd been saving more than money. "Tell me again why I'm pretending to be a wedding planner intern," I asked, tugging at the lanyard Jade had printed for me. "Because your sister's too self-absorbed to notice anyone who isn't holding a camera or a champagne flute," she said, handing me a clipboard. "You want to see the venue? This is how we do it." The vineyard was even more extravagant in person. Arched stone gates, white roses lining the path, a fountain that probably cost more than my first car. I walked in behind a real planner, nodding politely, clipboard in hand like I belonged. Tinsley was already there, spinning in front of a mirror in a tight white dress. Her laugh bounced off the walls like nails on glass. "Oh my God, it's perfect," she squealed. "Leighton's gonna lose his mind." I stayed in the back, snapping photos of the space, pretending to check off items on a fake checklist. Then I saw it. Her purse, slouched on a chair, half open. A folded paper poked out from the side. I moved closer. The receipt. I recognized the bank logo and the transfer amount without even touching it. She'd brought it with her, like a badge of honor. An assistant came over. "Can you check the lighting near the altar setup?" "Sure," I said, stepping away, but not before snapping a photo of the purse and zooming in on the receipt. Back in the car, I showed Jade. "She's literally carrying evidence of the theft," I said. "She's not just flaunting it, she's bragging." Jade grinned. "We're almost there." Later that night, I pulled up Leighton's name in a public records database. Jade had given me access through her friend. "Check this out," I said, pointing to a list of liens and collections. Leighton owed over $80,000 in gambling debt. Multiple creditors. One had already filed a lawsuit. Jade leaned over. "And yet he's booking private chefs and custom tuxes like he's royalty." I clicked through his Instagram. Photos of luxury watches, poker tables, a new car. All posted within the last month. "Where's that money coming from?" I asked. "Not from him," Jade said. "You think your parents know?" I shook my head. "They only see what they want to." We drafted an anonymous tip and sent it to one of the creditors, attaching screenshots of Leighton's recent purchases and the wedding registry full of high-ticket items. "Let's see how long that little empire holds," Jade said. The next morning, Ivan called. "You can now legally freeze the joint account that funded the wedding," he said. "Want me to?" I didn't hesitate. "Do it." He paused. "You sure? This will trigger a notification." "Good," I said. "Let them feel it." Within hours, the fallout began. First, the venue called to confirm a bounced payment. Then the florist. Then the photographer. Each one left voicemails with increasing panic. By afternoon, Tinsley's Instagram was full of cryptic posts. People are so fake. You give, and they still try to ruin you. Some people can't stand to see you happy. That's their problem, not mine. Jade laughed. "She's spiraling." That night, I got a knock on my motel door. I looked through the peephole and froze. Jarrett. I backed away, heart racing. He knocked again, harder. "Marissa, open the door." I didn't move. "I know you're in there. You think you can leave and blow up the whole damn family? You think people aren't talking?" I stayed silent. "You're going to come home. We're going to fix this. You don't get to walk away." My phone was already in my hand. I hit record. "You're my wife," he growled. "You don't get to ruin everyone else's life, too." I waited until I heard footsteps retreat. Then I called Jade. He found me. "I'm calling the police," she said. "We're filing a report. Tonight." 2 hours later, I sat in a small station office, showing the officer photos of bruises, texts, and the voicemail I'd just recorded. He nodded slowly. "We'll file a restraining order. And if he shows up again, he's going in." I signed the paperwork with shaking hands. But I didn't cry. Back at the motel, I collapsed onto the bed. Jade handed me a glass of water. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But I'm not scared anymore." She nodded. "Good, because it's only going to get messier." I looked at the screen again. Tinsley's latest post was a video of her crying in the back seat of a car. Why is this happening to me? I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered the receipt in her purse. The smile on her face when she twirled in that dress. They thought I was gone. Powerless. Alone. They forgot the quiet ones are the ones you should be most afraid of. The first vendor to pull out was the photographer. "Hi, this is Dana from Golden Lens," her voicemail said. "We're canceling our services due to non-payment. Please settle the outstanding balance to rebook." Then the florist. Then the caterer. By noon, the vineyard called. "We've received notice that the payment account has been frozen. We'll need full balance by Friday, or the date will be released." I sat in the motel room, listening to each message with Jade beside me, her face unreadable. "Feels like justice," she finally said. I nodded. "Feels like the start." We sent another anonymous tip, this time to the charity board my mom chaired. We included screenshots of the fraudulent bank activity, the forged signature, and the fact that she used stolen money to fund a luxury wedding. "Think they'll care?" I asked. "They care about appearances," Jade said. "Let's see how they like this one." An hour later, my dad showed up at the motel. I opened the door just enough to see his face. He looked tired. Older. Like the weight of everything was finally cracking through his carefully polished exterior. "Can we talk?" he asked. Jade stood behind me, arms crossed. "She's not alone." He glanced at her, then back at me. "I'm not here to fight. I want this to stop." I stepped outside, pulling the door shut behind me. "You stole from me. I didn't know she was going to take all of it, but you knew she took something, and you let it happen." He rubbed his face. "Look, I brought something." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. 10,000. It's all I could get without your mother noticing." I didn't take it. "That's not even a quarter of what you owe me. It's a start." "No," I said. "It's a bribe." He looked hurt. "Marissa, please. You're tearing this family apart. No, I said again. You did. I turned and walked back inside. Jade locked the door behind me. You okay? She asked. I nodded. He thinks money can fix this. That's rich, considering they used yours to pay for a party. That night I mailed out 5 identical manila envelopes. Inside each one, copies of the forged bank documents, screenshots of Tinsley's posts, and a note that read, "Is this the kind of leadership your board supports?" I didn't sign it. By morning, the fallout had started. My mom's name disappeared from the charity's website. A vague statement was posted online about realigning leadership for ethical transparency. Jade held up her phone. They're cutting her loose. I smiled. Good. And then, the meltdown began. Tinsley's Instagram went live. She was crying, makeup streaked, hair in a messy bun. I don't know why this is happening, she sobbed. People are trying to ruin my life. My wedding is falling apart. My fiancé is being harassed. I don't know what I did to deserve this. Jade snorted. She doesn't know? She doesn't want to. Then the message came. From Leighton. What the hell is going on? My accounts are being flagged and I'm getting calls from creditors. Did you leak something? I didn't reply. I just screenshot it and saved it. Later that day, the Vineyard officially canceled the wedding date. I knew because Tinsley posted a black screen with one word, devastated. Then she called me. I let it go to voicemail. You think you're so smart, don't you? You ruined everything. My wedding, my relationship, my life. I hope you're happy. You're sick. I saved that one too. That night, Jade and I sat on the motel bed, watching the chaos unfold from our phones. This is what happens, she said, when people think they're untouchable. They forget who they're standing on, I said. The next morning, there was another knock on the door. This time, it was the police. Jarrett Ferguson has been arrested, the officer said. Violation of a restraining order. He showed up at your workplace this morning. I blinked. I haven't been back there yet. He was asking for you. Security called us. I nodded. Thank you. After they left, I sat down on the edge of the bed. My hands were steady, my breathing calm. Jade looked at me. You're winning. I shook my head. I'm surviving. She didn't argue. An hour later, Ivan called. The bank's fraud department has reviewed the case, he said. They're filing formal charges, and the joint account your parents used, it's being locked for investigation. I leaned against the wall. What does that mean for them? They could lose their assets, the home, anything tied to that account. I didn't say anything. He paused. You okay? I will be. That night, I got one last message from Tinsley. You destroyed everything. I hope it was worth it. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back. You cut my wings. I just learned how to fly without them. Jarrett's mugshot was the first thing I saw when I opened my phone. Jade burst into the motel room, holding a printout. He's officially booked. Violation of restraining order. They picked him up outside your office building. I took the paper from her. His eyes were bloodshot, jaw clenched. That same look he used to give me right before the yelling started. Bail denied, Jade added. Judge saw the report, the bruises, the voicemails. He's not walking out this time. I sat down slowly. I didn't think it would actually happen. She handed me a cup of coffee. You did the work. You kept the records. You stood up. I looked at her. What now? She smiled. Now we go for the rest. That afternoon, we filed the civil suit against my parents. Forgery, fraud, unauthorized access to funds. The court clerk didn't blink when she stamped the papers, just handed me a copy and said, You'll get a notice for the hearing. I walked out of the courthouse feeling lighter than I had in years. 2 days later, the news hit our community paper. Not front page, but close enough. Local couple faces. Allegations of financial misconduct in family dispute. Beneath it, a photo of my parents at a charity gala, smiling like they hadn't just wrecked their daughter's life. Jade tossed the paper on the bed. "They're done." I picked it up. "Not yet." The next day, I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in years, Leighton's ex-girlfriend. We'd met once at a party, years ago. "Hey, I heard what's going on. You should know Leighton's been using fake financial statements to get credit. He owes a lot more than people think. I have screenshots if you want them." I replied instantly. "Yes, please send everything." She did. Bank statements, texts, even a photo of a bounced check from a luxury rental service. I forwarded it all to one of his biggest creditors. By the end of the week, Leighton had backed out of the wedding entirely. Tinsley posted a black and white photo of herself holding her veil in her lap, captioned, "Sometimes love isn't enough." Jade rolled her eyes. She's acting like she just got ghosted, not like her fiancé bailed under a mountain of debt. "She's still trying to be the victim," I said. "She's got no one left to play the part for." Then came the lien. Ivan called me personally. "The fraud department moved fast," he said. "The home your parents own was tied to the same account used for the wedding expenses. Since the funds are under investigation, the bank has placed a lien on the property. They're going to lose the house, unless they can pay back the full amount, which, judging by the account balance, they can't." I didn't say anything for a moment. Then, "Thank you, Ivan. You deserve peace, Marissa. I hope this gives you some." That night, I got a call from my mom. I let it go to voicemail. "You've gone too far. You've embarrassed us. Your father can't show his face at work. Tinsley's devastated. You think you've won? You've ruined your family. You'll regret this." I saved it. Labeled it Final Threat. The next morning, I got a call from the restaurant hosting what was supposed to be the rehearsal dinner. "Hi, this is Megan from Olive and Vine," she said. "We had a card on file for the Rose Night party, but it was declined. We've tried contacting the family, but no response. Do you know if the event is still happening?" I smiled. "You might want to cancel that reservation." I hung up and looked at Jade. "You ready?" She nodded. "Let's go." We drove to the restaurant, parked across the street, and waited. They showed up right on time. My mom in a beige wrap dress, my dad trailing behind her, and Tinsley in a tight black cocktail dress, sunglasses on even though it was cloudy. They walked in, heads high. 5 minutes later, they walked out. Tinsley was yelling. My mom was on the phone, face red. My dad just stood there, hands in his pockets, defeated. We stayed in the car, watching from behind tinted windows. "You want to talk to them?" Jade asked. I shook my head. "Not yet, but I did send one last message. To Tinsley. The wedding's off. The house is under lien. Leighton's gone. And you still think I'm the villain?" Her reply came in seconds. "You think you're better than us? You're nothing. Just a bitter, jealous freak who couldn't keep her husband." I stared at the screen. Then I typed back, "I didn't want to keep him. I wanted to survive him." No response. Jade looked over. "You ready to walk away?" I nodded. "Almost." The next day, Ivan called. "The bank board approved a financial settlement for you," he said. "They're offering a full reimbursement plus damages. And the fraud case is moving to civil court." I closed my eyes. "Thank you." He paused. "You did this, Marissa. You saved yourself." I hung up and looked around the motel room. The same beige walls, the same humming heater. But I wasn't the same. I was free, and I wasn't done yet. The restaurant was nearly empty when I walked in. Just a few scattered tables, a bored hostess, and the sound of silverware clinking against plates. The rehearsal dinner that never was had been reduced to a sad little corner table with 3 people and no reservation. My mother looked up first. Her face froze. Tinsley turned slowly, eyes wide. You. I kept walking until I stood at the edge of their table. No smile, no greeting, just a folder in my hand and a calm I didn't recognize in myself. "What are you doing here?" my mother asked, voice sharp. "I figured since you all gathered anyway, I'd stop by for a little family meeting." "We're not doing this here," she hissed. "Oh, we are," I said, placing the folder on the table. "Go ahead. Open it." My dad reached for it, hesitated, then opened the flap. His hands trembled as he pulled out the papers. Bank statements, screenshots, the forged digital signature, the email from the charity board, all of it. Tinsley leaned over to look, her mouth slightly open. "What is this?" "Proof," I said, "of everything." "I don't understand," she said. "Mom told me—" "Go ahead," I said, turning to her. "Say it." She looked at my mom. "You said she gave it to us, that she wanted to help." My mother's jaw clenched. "I said no such thing." "You did," Tinsley snapped. "You told me she was fine with it, that she didn't need it." "Don't twist my words," my mom said, her voice rising. "Are you kidding me?" Tinsley's voice cracked. "You told me to take the money. You said she was being dramatic and that I deserved a proper wedding." My dad rubbed his face with both hands. "Can we not do this here?" "No," I said. "This is exactly where we do it." My mother stood. "You're a disgrace. You've humiliated this family. You've destroyed your sister's future." I tilted my head. "You mean the wedding that never happened? The fiancé with a gambling addiction? The house under lien? That future? You'll regret this," she spat. I stepped closer. "I already did. Every time I let you talk me into silence. Every time I stayed with a man who hit me because you said marriage was hard. Every time I made myself small so Tinsley could shine." My mother's face twisted. "You're sick." "No," I said. "I'm finally sane." Tinsley stood now too, shaking her head. "You ruined everything." "You ruined it yourselves," I said. "I just turned on the lights." The waiter approached, looking nervous. Sorry to interrupt, but the card on file was declined. We'll need another form of payment." My mother's face went pale. "I'll call the bank." "It's frozen," I said. "Remember? Fraud investigation." She looked like she might scream. The waiter awkwardly stepped back. "I'll give you a moment." I turned to leave. "You think you're better than us?" my mother called after me. "No," I said over my shoulder. "I'm just not like you." I walked out into the night, the door closing behind me like the final page of a book. Jade was waiting in the car across the street. "How'd it go?" she asked. "They turned on each other." She smiled. "Told you they would." I buckled in. Tinsley finally realized Mom lied to her. She lost it. Good. Let them eat each other alive. We drove in silence for a while before my phone buzzed. It was Ivan. "The board approved your settlement," he said. "It'll be wired to your new account by next week." "And the fraud case?" "Moving to civil court. Your parents will be served within the month." I exhaled. "Thank you." "You earned it," he said. "All of it." After the call, Jade looked over at me. "So what now?" "I go home," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "You don't have one." "I will." We stopped at a gas station on the way back. While Jade filled up, I stood by the pump, staring up at the stars. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just breathed. When we got back to the motel, I opened my laptop and booked a one-way flight. New state. New name on the lease. New everything. Jade looked over my shoulder. "You sure?" I nodded. "It's time." She hugged me. "I'm proud of you." "I'm proud of me too." And for the first time in years, I meant it. The house was small. One story, white siding, a porch swing that creaked when the wind hit just right. I stood in the driveway with a cardboard box in my arms, heart thudding. keys in my pocket. "Need help with that?" a voice called. I turned. The neighbor across the street, a woman maybe in her 50s, waved from her front yard. She wore gardening gloves and a bright pink sun hat. "I'm good, thanks," I said. She smiled. "Welcome to the neighborhood." I nodded and carried the box inside. The place smelled like fresh paint and pine cleaner. I'd furnished it with the basics: thrift store couch, a mattress on the floor, a tiny kitchen table with mismatched chairs. But it was mine. Every inch of it. Paid for with the settlement. I set the box down and opened the blinds. Sunlight spilled in, warm and golden. Peaceful. My phone buzzed. It was Jade. "You settled in yet?" "Just walked in. You deserve this. Proud of you." I typed back, "Couldn't have done it without you." She replied with a heart emoji and a picture of her dog in a sweater. I laughed. First time in a while, it didn't feel forced. Later that afternoon, I drove to a nearby park. There was a walking trail, quiet and shaded. I didn't bring headphones. I just walked, letting the sounds of birds and rustling leaves fill the silence. Halfway through the loop, I stopped at a bench. A man sat at the far end, reading a paperback. He looked up, gave a polite nod, then went back to his book. I sat down. After a few minutes, he glanced over. "You new in town?" "Yeah," I said. "Just moved in." "Welcome," he said. "It's quiet, but in a good way. That's what I was hoping for." He smiled. "I'm Eli." "Marissa." He nodded, then held up his book. "You read?" "Used to." "Start again," he said. "It helps." We sat in silence after that. It wasn't awkward, just calm. When I got home, there was a letter in the mailbox. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. I opened it on the porch. "You got what you wanted. I hope it was worth it." Dad's trying to fix things, but we both know he can't. Tinsley won't talk to me. The house is quiet. Too quiet. "I hope you sleep well at night." No signature. Just bitterness on paper. I folded it and dropped it in the trash. Inside, I unpacked the last box. At the bottom was the locket from my grandmother. I held it in my hand for a moment, then placed it on the bookshelf. The next morning, I had my first therapy appointment. The office was bright, full of plants and soft music. The therapist, a kind-eyed woman named Carla, offered me tea. "So," she said, "what brings you in today?" I looked at her. "I'm trying to figure out who I am now." She nodded. "That's a good place to start." We talked for an hour. About the marriage, the money, the betrayal, the rage. She didn't flinch, didn't judge, just listened. When it was over, I stepped outside and stood in the sun for a while. I wasn't healed, not yet, but I was safe. A week later, I ran into Eli again at the park. "You read anything yet?" he asked. "Started something last night." He smiled. "Good. Want to grab coffee sometime?" I paused. "Maybe." "No pressure," he said. "Just figured I'd ask." I nodded. "Thanks." At home, I made dinner. Pasta, nothing fancy. I ate at the kitchen table, phone face down, music playing low. No yelling, no footsteps, no eggshells. Just me. I opened my laptop and pulled up the court docket. Jarrett's trial was scheduled. My parents' civil case was moving forward. Tinsley had filed for bankruptcy. I closed the tab. I didn't need to watch the rest fall. I'd already walked away from the fire. After dinner, I sat on the porch swing and watched the sky turn pink. The neighbor waved again from across the street. I waved back. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Jade. "You okay?" I stared at the screen for a moment, then typed back. "I lost a family. But maybe they were never mine to begin with. I created my escape, and justice walked with me out the door." I hit send. Then I looked up at the fading sky and whispered, Karma didn't need my help. I smiled. But it sure looked damn good in a silk dress when it showed up at the wedding,